You tune into the SportsCast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the SportsCast. Tune into the SportsCast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken SportsCast. This is your host Brian, and I do want to apologize. This episode's coming out a day late. Look, guys, I put in 13 hours yesterday at work, and it was quite a rough day. I got home, I had to fix up dinner here, and then we had to decorate some pumpkins. It's that time of year, and we had to decorate some pumpkins for the kids' school. So I just didn't have the time yesterday, and today I do. So we're getting it done today. We have the NFL Week 6 recap for you here. We had teams get the first one of the season. We had about 5 blowouts this week and a couple teams that made some statement wins. Late games, we had late game turnovers cost the Seattle Seahawks. So I was 9-5 this week in my predictions. A so week, 9-5 is not bad. I'll take it. It's definitely a win. So let's jump into the Week 6 recap. So Thursday night's game was a lot closer than it should have been, as the Bucs beat the Eagles 28-22. Does this say more about the Bucs or the Eagles, in your opinions? In my opinion, it says more about the Bucs, and they're not playing as well as they probably should. A win's a win in the NFL. They don't usually come easy. And we saw this last year, right? The Bucs started off slow, and they got beat badly by the Saints 38-3. They didn't play very good, but when time mattered at the end of the year and headed in for playoffs, they stepped up. The Bucs in this game won every stat. They won the time of possession, yards in both passing and rushing, third down percentage. This is one of those games the Eagles came out and fought. So, we know what the Eagles are. They're not a contender. They might play some teams closer than they probably should, but are they great team? No. They're still working out Jalen Hurts and still working all that stuff there. This says more to the Bucs than the Eagles, in my opinion. But the Bucs, there's no reason to worry. They started so last year too. They're going to jump back on it. So the Jaguars pick up their first win of the year as the last-second field goal, 23-20 over Miami. Now, I projected that the Jaguars would do this. They both these Florida teams flew to London, and Jacksonville played a really good game. I thought Trevor Lawrence looked good in this game. He made some tough throws. Robinson, the running back's a really good running back. He's very underrated, and he looks really well for this team. He played well last season, and he played well in this game. And the Jacksonville Jaguars hit a game-winning field goal that looked, when the kicker kicked it, it was right for a while. Even the announcer said, "Oh, he's gonna," he missed it, and then it hooked in. They get the stop they need to, and they come down and they kick a game-winning field goal. Miami's lost 5 straight games. They won the very first game. They've lost 5 straight. There's been interesting rumors about a Deshaun Watson trade to Miami happening this week. So we'll jump into that, though, on our normal podcast and not this recap. So feel free to come in and listen to that this week on Friday. The football team gives the Chiefs a scare as they were up at half, But Mahomes finds rhythm in the second half, and they blow out Washington 31-13. This game was really close in the beginning, and it looked like the Chiefs just kind of woke up in the second half. This is another game we walk away kind of questioning the Chiefs. Like, are they the team that we think they are? They haven't. They've got to start putting complete games together. And they've had games where they take a couple quarters off, and then it's hard to play catch up, especially when your quarterback Patrick Mahomes is throwing interceptions when he hasn't been, right. And I think a lot of it's that some of his passes in the past have been lucky. He just kind of tosses it up there, and usually his guys come down with. Well, this year, some of his guys aren't coming down with it. This year, some guys are able to read him a little bit more, and this is what kind of happens when teams figure out what to do against you and confuse you as a quarterback, and you start making those decisions that aren't very good. So this is a good football team. They need to work on their defense. Quarterback has to stop throwing the football, turning over the football, and they have to put a complete game together. But I think at the end of the day, I think they are a playoff team, and I think they're going to compete at the end of it. So it's just these teams, like Kansas City, that wins so often that sometimes you find the regular season kind of boring, and you're waiting for that playoff football, and sometimes you hear about the switch they turn on. Well, if that switch doesn't turn on, then they're playing that very dangerous game. So let's see what happens with the Chiefs. They're a very interesting team. We'll see what happens at the end of the season. The Rams buck the Giants 38-11. They scored 28 points in the second quarter. Not much more you need to know. The Giants are terrible. Colts get a win against the bad Texas team 31-3. The Colts came in and just smashed them. Now, the Texans have been playing pretty good the last couple of weeks. They played the Patriots really well. They almost upset the Patriots. I don't know how, right? But they get blown out by the Colts, and Carson Wentz played really efficiently in this game and played pretty good. They blow them out 31-3. I think the Texans, we obviously know, are bad. The Colts, I had a little higher hopes for them this season than what they've shown lately. Wentz was the big question mark. Can he come in and change this team and start over? But it doesn't look like he can. He's still injury prone and been getting injured. So the Colts, I'm kind of down on this season so far. See where they go after this for to get a quarterback, and do they think Wentz is their guy? Because I don't think he is. The Lions remain the only team without a win so far as they lose 34-11 to the Bengals. Joe Burrow had 3 touchdowns. Look, on the bright side for the Lions, they're in the first place for the number 1 spot. They're the only winless team in the league, so they had that going for them. And, interesting, bold move by Dan Campbell. He called out Carson Wentz today, said he's got to start – not Carson Wentz, sorry. He called out Jared Goff today and saying he's got to step up and play better and make those throws when needed. So he's getting called out by another coach. And when Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl and then he was released from the Rams or traded from the Rams to the Lions, people were kind of, like, this is kind of interesting. Jared Goff did get you to a Super Bowl. Maybe there's something there that we're not seeing. Maybe he's hesitant on throwing the football, but I'm not sure. Jared Goff to me is an okay player, but I don't think he's amazing. So he reminds me of a lot of like Jimmy Garoppolo. They're both guys. Both of them have a similar not, I want to say background, but kind of a story. Like Jimmy Garoppolo took the 49ers to the Super Bowl, right? And he is on the chopping block every year. It seems like there's rumors about being traded. They just drafted Trey Lance right behind him. So questions there with Jared Goff. And, coming out of this draft, this quarterback class for college isn't supposed to be very fantastic this season. So even if you have the first round pick, it's like, who do you pick? What quarterback do you go with? Do they go with the quarterback? I'm sure they've got to, but right now they have the number 1 pick, and that's good for them. The Bengals look really good in this game. I expected them to win now 34-11 on the road in Detroit. I didn't expect them to blow them out, but the Bengals look really good. Joe Burrow looks really good. Jamar Chase has stepped up, and he's rookie of the year, in my opinion, right now. I don't think anybody can really fight him on that. And, this goes to show you those rumors and those things you hear in the offseason are sometimes you just got to ignore, because in off season, Jamar Chase was a bust already. Jamar Chase was dropping everything and couldn't do anything, and now he's playing in middle NFL games, and he's actually lights out. So we saw him last week against the Packers. Fantastic wide receiver. They have that great connection from LSU when they play with each other. So that's something to watch out for there. So Packers win again in the longest rivalry in sports against the Bears, 24-14. It was an ugly win, but a win nevertheless, right? At the end of the day, a win's a win. So what's funny about this game is look, Justin Fields looked pretty good. I don't know the stat line at the end of the day for Justin Fields, but he was making some throws. He made some darts. He has a good arm. He made some good decisions. He made a couple questionable tosses. But the funniest thing is when Rodgers, he rushed for a touchdown, and he rushed for a touchdown. It was basically the dagger in this game. And he looks up at the stands, and this is a big uproar lately, but he was getting some middle fingers from the fans, which I get it. This guy's burned you a lot in his life. And Rodgers basically quotes out, "I still own you. I've always owned you." Fantastic. I love it. I like that energy. I like that dog mentality. It's great. Rodgers is 22-5 against the Bears. He owns them. Okay. The Rodgers nightmare for the Bears might be over this year because he might leave Green Bay, but he's 22-5 against them in his career, and he does own them. All right. The Bears got to figure out what they're going to do. Matt Nagy will be gone at the end of the season. I think the GM too. But right now, Aaron Rodgers and them, they go into Chicago. They get the win. They get a 10-point win on the road against a division rivalry against the number 8 defense overall in the NFL, the Chicago Bears. So good win in my book by them. Our first half, we looked sloppy. Second half, we picked it up. Statement win of the week was Baltimore by far. I predicted that Baltimore would lose. I thought that Justin Herbert, don't get me wrong, fantastic, wonderful quarterback. I figured they'd go in there and win. Baltimore gets a statement week, man. They go in, they go in there. Well, it's in their home field, but they take on the Red Hot Chargers and they handle them 34-6. They held this offense and Herbert to 6 points. And this Baltimore team is dangerous, right? Lamar Jackson's been playing fantastic, and I've been a not a hater of Lamar, but I never respected his quarterback game. I didn't think he could throw the ball the way you needed to in the NFL to win. So maybe it's time to pull out that apology train and start it. Maybe we'll see if he can do this consistently. But so far this year, he's been balling out, and you cannot deny it when you look at the numbers. His rushing attack is great. Lamar has been he's thrown the ball really well and quieting maybe the doubt that he has going against him. I don't know. In my book, I'm realistic. I'm willing to own up when I'm off on a guy, and I'm off. I was off on Lamar Jackson. We'll see if he can consistently do this, but I'm off on him this year. I thought that the league had kind of figured him out, but I'm willing to admit my mistakes, and he's playing really, really good. So they get the statement win. I don't think this says much for the Chargers. It's a loss. They'll sweep it under the rug, and they'll learn from it and move on. They're still a good football team. So kudos to Baltimore, and keep proving those the doubters wrong, Lamar. Keep proving them wrong. The Vikings take the Panthers to overtime to get the victory, 34-28. The Vikings, man, they're the worst luck in kickers. He missed 2 field goals that almost cost him this game at the end. Panthers scored 11 points in the fourth quarter to come back, but they ended up falling short. I projected that the Panthers would come back in this game and get back on the winning track, and they end up losing this one. So Kirk Cousins played well in this game. He got his team down with the chance to win in regulation. The kicker just missed a field goal. So I know Kirk Cousins gets a lot of hate and stuff, but he's an average, above average bus driver is what he is. And this Vikings team gets the win, but we still don't know who they are. And that's the biggest issue with all the talent they have on offense and the talent they have on defense and a respected head coach. This team's too good to lose this way. So, or to lose games that they do and to play the way that they play and have these games come down to nail biting field goals, which the history of the Vikings don't have really good luck when it comes down to that. So they've got to figure something else. They do get the win here on the road against a decent Panther team, but I'm looking to see more from the Vikings if you're a fan of theirs and stuff. But I mean, obviously, as a Green Bay fan, I hope they continue. I hope they lose every game of the season. But this team's too talented to lose. So to lose these close games, I was also wrong on this one. The Cardinals dominate a tough Cleveland defense. They beat them 37-14. This was another statement win. The Cardinals are a really good football team. Green Bay's got to play them in 2 weeks. I'm not looking forward to that game. But this Cardinals team is the only undefeated team in the league. They're rushing the ball really well this year. And that's something that I think a lot of people haven't really been talking about. They're looking at Kyle Murray, which, okay, great. Kyle Murray is a MVP candidate this season so far. He's been playing great. But they're rushing the ball really well in these games, and that's opening up the pass for Kyle Murray, and it's doing a lot of things. This defense has played really well as well. Murray had 4 touchdowns in this game, and Cardinals, when you can win the turnover battle 3-0, you're setting yourself up to win these ball games. So I picked the Cleveland Browns to give them the first loss of the season. I was wrong on that game. So kudos to the Cardinals for proving me wrong, getting the job done. They're still the number 1 team in the league, in my opinion, right now, the way they're playing, the way the record shows, and who they're beating. So kudos to them. All right, Raiders get the Gruden monkey off their back and beat the Broncos 34-24. Now, if you want to hear our opinions on the John Gruden issue, that's episode number 75, and it was out over the weekend. And me and Jeff talked about it. I wanted to save it for the podcast. It's a big hot topic. We have our takes on that if you want to go listen to that. Now, I'm interested to see what the Raiders do after this, right? That situation can tear up a team. It can cost this team some wins. It can bring some turmoil in this locker room. They come out and they will beat the Broncos. Now, I know you're probably saying it's just the Broncos, but they're a division rival. They've got a tough defense. But this was a good win on the right track for the Raiders. Teddy Bridgewater threw 3 interceptions. It didn't help the Broncos. And Teddy works with Denver if he cannot turn over the ball. If he can be a bus driver, they can win some games. But Teddy turning over the football is not your guy. And I've never been a fan of Teddy Bridgewater. I've never been a fan of stopgap quarterbacks. Don't think he's the guy, and that's why I'm not really high on the Denver Broncos. But when he turns over the ball, this team's not going to win. The Dallas Cowboys win a wild thriller in New England. This game was crazy. I didn't get to watch all of it. I had some other things to get to attend to, but they beat New England 35-29. Dak threw for 445 yards and 3 touchdowns. Both teams rushed for over 120 yards. Diggs has another interception, and we had to come out with our episode 75 on our podcast a little later than we wanted to. We had to drop it on Sunday. And actually, I think we dropped it Monday. And no, we dropped to Sunday. And I had my buddies going, "Why aren't you talking about the Cowboys? The Cowboys just beat the Patriots. What is going on?" I'm like, "Look, guys, that's not that episode. This is going to be this week's episode." So here it is. All right, here it is. Here's the Dallas Cowboy talk. First of all, the Dallas Cowboys put up the most points and or the most yards, overall yards, and Dak put up the most passing yards on a Bill Belichick led defense. That's impressive. Really impressive. The running game for the Cowboys has been fantastic this season. They get over 120 yards. Um, this offense is dangerous. And look, I'm going to tell you, the Cowboys are legit. And they had moments in this game that they could have lost this game. It could have cost them. They've get in their way a lot of times. And in the past, that typically did cost them games. And it should have cost them this one, right? Or you look back at the Chargers and you say, Chargers should have probably won that one. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. They get the win. And they did what they did to do to get the job done. And Dak Prescott's might be favored. I believe he's favored to be the MVP this season. He's going to win comeback player of the year. All he had to do to win that was just basically play all season, and he's going to win that. So does he take the MVP award too? Maybe. He's playing lights out. This offense is scary. It's it's hard to stop. Who are you going to stop? Are you going to try and double cover Amari Cooper? Well, then CeeDee Lamb's going off. If you double cover CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper's going off. If you've got all of them taken care of, the tight ends have been playing really well. If you got that taken care of too, they got Pollard catching passes out of the backfield, or Zeke, or this team on offense is dangerous. This defense has been about average as far as yards and everything goes, but their ball hawk Diggs has the most interceptions in this league. They're what I call an opportunistic defense. They may give up a lot of yards, but you make a mistake with that ball, and they're giving it back to their offense, and that's what Diggs is. Now Diggs is playing fantastic, right? Don't get me wrong. He's not a lockdown corner yet, guys. Let's hold the brakes on that. He's not a lockdown corner. Now, look, he has promised to be one down the road. This is his second season, I believe. He is a guy that if you make a mistake, he will make you pay for it. You better place that ball with accuracy, or he's going to make you pay for it. Now, he gets up a lot of yards, and that's why I say he's not locked down, because guys that are locked down, like Jalen Ramsey or J.R. Alexander, they don't get the ball thrown on them. That's locked down, right? I'm not even tempting it, right? That doesn't, they don't throw the ball over there. And I think sometimes when that happens, you look at their stats and go, well, he didn't really do much this game. Yeah, but he shut down their best receiver, or he shut down this side of the field when, Richard Sherman was back on Seattle and stuff like that. They don't even throw to him. That's a lockdown wide receiver. Diggs is fantastic. He's playing lights out right now. He does give up a lot of yards, and teams will continue to throw on him because of that. But they have to place the ball really well. And Diggs in this defense is opportunistic. I think the biggest hire for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason was Dan Quinn. He's got this defense playing really well. He's got them playing with a lot of passion, some fire in their chest, and they're getting at it. And look, this team's been injured this year. They're missing DeMarcus Lawrence, who's a big threat to the defense, or a big threat on the defense. Gregory's been playing better. They have guys that have come out and played a lot better this year. They got Jalen Smith off the team. Now he's a Green Bay Packer who didn't look fantastic, very good this last week, but that's a different story. The Dallas Cowboys are a legit team. There's your Dallas Cowboys talks, Ryan and Steven and all the guys that want to ask me about why I'm not talking about Dallas Cowboys. There it is. They're legit, and that's the first time you probably heard me say that in a long time. So there you go. All right, guys. Geno Smith's late fumble cost the Seahawks. I picked the Seahawks to go into the Steelers with no Russell Wilson and win. And if Geno Smith doesn't fumble, they might have won the game. They lost 23-20. I'm not a big fan of the Steelers, and it's because I don't think Big Ben Roethlisberger can get the job done anymore. And this defense is fantastic, and they get to the quarterback. They cause all sorts of chaos with the quarterbacks and the running backs. They should have lost this game, though. And Big Ben has got to retire at the end of the year for the betterment of his team and the betterment of the NFL in general. But this was just a boring game without Russell Wilson, and they're going to miss him. The last game was a big letdown, guys. Man, the Bills let them down. They let them down. Now they had to go in and face Tennessee. They ended up losing 34-31. As Titans get an impressive win. This was an impressive win. Derrick Henry had 143 yards. He averaged 7.2 yards a carry. He gets the Beast Mode Award of the week. And this NFL is a pass first, right? We all know that. And that's the way to go. I want my team to be pass first, always. When you have a guy like Derrick Henry who can average 7 yards a carry, you hand that ball off. You would be dumb not to. And that big threat of Derrick Henry allows Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball over the field more than any other running back in the league. And that works for them sometimes, right? This game it did. They got the win. They got the victory. It works for them. Sometimes it doesn't. This week it did. I'm not high on Tennessee because I don't think that's a winning formula against a high-powered offense. Or if Tannehill's off that day and they're able to load the box and shut down Derrick Henry, then we've seen that in the past where they shut down Derrick Henry and Tannehill can't get the job done. Tannehill relies so much on Derrick Henry. A lot. So I'm not high on Tannehill. I'm not high on the Tennessee Titans. They're so inconsistent to me. But this is an impressive win. The Bills are a very fantastic team. They put up 31 points. Their defense couldn't hold them. And Derrick Henry's a beast. A absolute beast. 7 yards, averaging 7 yards a carry. When you're doing that, you can continue to run all day. And that will be a winning formula. So that is the NFL recap of Week 6. Sorry, my screen is like messed up there. That is the NFL recap of Week 6. Sorry, it's out a day late. Like I said, I put in 13 hours yesterday. I was tired when I got home. So that's the NFL recap Week 6. Me and Jeff are on Restream now. We switched over to Restream. I am using it right now. I'm not live streaming just yet or doing video yet. We will get there as soon as we can, and just working on some things. But I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy days. I know life gets busy, and look, I get busy here, and sometimes we're a day late on these things, or sometimes stuff happens. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. We're getting more content out, two episodes a week usually. I'm on TikTok. I had 2 TikToks today, and so come find us on there. I put out little tidbits on here and there. We'll have an interesting conversation this week on our episode. This is episode number 76. Episode number 77 will be out Friday or Saturday this week, and had some interesting topics. We got the NBA started, so that's great. We got the MLB playoffs. Obviously, you have NFL news. We've got LSU head coach O is going to be out at the end of the year. What went wrong there, right? I thought that was a fantastic team and a coach, but I guess they're not getting along anymore, so they've agreed to part ways. We've got rumors of Deshaun Watson trade. So all that on this week's episode coming up. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. I hope mine gets better. I've been putting in long days, guys. But sometimes that's just the way it is in the business that I run, or the business that I do. I don't own the business. I wish. All right, guys, have a fantastic week, and God bless.